All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about the one thing every single developer is thinking about, right? Is AI coming for my job? We're going to explore how artificial intelligence isn't just changing a few lines of code, it's completely redefining what it even means to be a programmer.
You know, I think this quote is the perfect way to kick things off. It really frames the whole conversation perfectly. The rise of AI, it's not a fight. It's not us versus the machine. It's more like we're learning a new dance with a very, very powerful new partner.
But look, let's be totally honest. This is the real question, isn't it? When a machine can spit out perfectly good code in just a few seconds, of course you're going to start wondering about your job security. So let's just tackle that fear head on. Because to really understand where we're going, we first have to understand where we've been.
To really get what's happening to us right now, we've got to look back. Because this feeling of anxiety, trust me, it is not new at all.
I mean, think about it. Every time a truly disruptive technology shows up, whether it's the printing press or the power loom, the skilled craftspeople of that era have felt this exact same uncertainty. What we're going through right now is just the latest chapter in a very, very old story of human innovation.
And you know, for programmers, that story has always been about moving to a higher level of abstraction, getting away from the tiny, tedious details and closer to the big picture. This isn't some brand new trend. It's literally been the entire history of our profession.
This table just lays it out perfectly. We started out as hardware artisans way back in the 50s, where we had to manage every single byte of memory. Then we evolved. In the 80s, we became architects, building abstractions. By the 2010s, we were orchestrators, just trying to connect a bunch of different cloud services. And now, well, our role is shifting again. It's all about defining the intention, telling the AI what we want, and then validating that it did it right.
You can see that clear line of progression, right? From hardware artisan to abstraction architect to service orchestrator, and now to AI interaction designer. Every single step has taken us further away from the machine's language and closer to expressing pure human intent. So you see, AI isn't derailing this path, it's the next logical stop.
So, all that theory is great, but what does this actually look like day to day? You know, when you sit down at the keyboard, how is the actual act of coding changing?
We've all been there, staring at that terrifyingly blank file, Googling some basic syntax on Stack Overflow for the millionth time, writing the same boring boilerplate code again and again. Well, the new way is completely different. You start by just describing your goal to an AI. In plain English, it generates a skeleton for you, and your job shifts to reviewing, refining, and building on top of that. The focus isn't on writing anymore, it's on reviewing.
And this brings us to this huge new skill, prompt engineering. And it's not about learning a new programming language or anything like that. It's really just about mastering the art of communication. It's about being incredibly clear and precise when you tell the machine what you want.
A great prompt isn't just a simple question. It's basically a spec sheet. Just look at this one. Notice how it defines the input, the output, the sorting order, and it even asks for documentation and type hints. You have to remember, the quality of your prompt is directly tied to the quality of the code you get back.
And poof, there's the result. Clean, correct, documented code. And it was generated almost instantly. This is really the heart of the new workflow. You're not getting paid to remember syntax anymore. You're getting paid to solve problems. And AI is just handling the syntax part for you so you can focus on the actual solution. So this new way of working, obviously it has a massive impact. Let's break down what it actually means for our productivity, for our job roles, and for the market as a whole.
Okay, so the early numbers are already coming in from big players like GitHub and McKinsey, and they are showing productivity boosts somewhere between 30 and 50% for certain coding tasks. That is not a small jump. That is a massive leap, and it means we can build things faster than we ever thought possible.
But all that speed, it comes with a price. It's a double-edged sword, really. On the one hand, yeah, you get faster prototyping, you get automated tests. But on the other hand, you can rack up technical debt at lightning speed. And you might spend all that time you just saved simply verifying that the AI's work is even correct.
And this is where our value as human developers is really shifting. For junior devs, AI is an incredible leveler, but you have to be careful it doesn't become a crutch. For senior devs, your value moves even more towards things like architecture and critical thinking. And entire teams, well, they're becoming smaller, more agile, and able to prototype ideas in days instead of months.
So, knowing all of this, what do we do? How do we adapt?
How do we make sure we don't just survive this massive shift, but actually come out on top? I think this is the best way to think about it. Why do we still teach kids how to do long division by hand when we all have calculators in our pockets? It's because doing it manually builds that fundamental understanding. The exact same thing is true for coding. You can't effectively critique an AI's code if you don't have a rock-solid foundation in coding fundamentals yourself.
So here it is. This is your action plan. Number 1, adopt but don't obey. Use AI as a tool, not as an oracle that's always right. 2, invest in your fundamentals. Your real value is in architecture and security, the stuff that requires human judgment. 3, master communication. Get really good at writing prompts. 4, develop your ethical judgment, because you, not the AI, are still responsible for the code. 5, practice unassisted. Go fly solo every once in a while to keep your skills sharp. And finally, number 6, join the conversation. This whole new world is being built right now, so jump in and help shape it.
So when you put all of these pieces together, a whole new picture of our job starts to emerge. We're not just coders anymore, we're becoming something more. It's a pretty big evolution of the role.
We're moving away from being simple builders who just lay one brick at a time. Our job is becoming much more about being the chief designer, the person who specifies behavior and orchestrates these complex systems by guiding our new AI partner.
And really, we're just completing that journey we talked about earlier. We're finally moving from being the hands-on artisan to being the visionary architect. And you have to see this for what it is. It's not a replacement. It's a promotion.
And I really want to leave you with this final thought. AI isn't here to get rid of the creative, problem-solving work that we all love to do. It's here to automate away the repetitive, tedious tasks, the parts of the job that probably shouldn't have required a programmer in the first place. The future isn't about being replaced, it's about being augmented.